Welcome to the Inside Scoop. Today, we're going to talk about which team won the month of June on the recruiting trail. There was well over 150 commitments this month. Crazy, just a lot of action. So let's talk about who had the best month in college football recruiting. And for that, I want to bring on national recruiting analyst Sam Spiegelman. Sam, let's start at number 5. We'll reveal number 1 down the road here, but let's start at number 5. I got Michigan coming in. They had 8 commitments in the month of June. They're currently sitting at number 7 overall. Here's a look at their top commitments of the month. Linebacker Mason Curtis, linebacker Jeremiah Beasley, wide receiver Amarion Stewart, edge Dominic Nichols, and linebacker Jaden Smith. Sam, it was a great month for Michigan. They were inside the top 10 for a period of time, but Michigan fans are really celebrating because last year they finished 18th in recruiting. What's with this turnaround?
Yeah, right. Michigan has been a college football playoff contender each of the past 2 seasons, and I think we're finally to see them recruiting the same level that they're playing, which on the field. Big commitments from Jeremiah Beasley at the linebacker position, Amarion Stewart, one of the more prolific wide receivers from the Midwest. A big June, also obviously a lot of big official visits, and I think they leave the month of June in a really good spot with South Florida safety Zaquan Patterson, another wide receiver Jordan Shipp, and of course they got the number 1 quarterback in the country on campus for next year, trying to get a leg up on the competition. Ohio State, Alabama, and LSU all involved with Bryce Underwood.
Yeah, Michigan is really on it in recruiting when they're recruiting South Florida and starting to land some 4-star prospects out of that area. All right, let's move on down the countdown. Let's go to number 4. It's the UGA Dogs. They were on fire this month, and they already have the number 1 class. Last month, you remember, they landed Dylan Raiola, the number 1 quarterback in America. And this month, they landed 6 commitments. Defensive lineman Justin Green, defensive lineman Justin Thomas. They flipped running back Chauncey Bowens from Florida. Michael Uini commits on the last day of the month. Defensive lineman Nnamdi Agboko. Boy, did they add some size. If you look at this overall, Sam, Kirby Smart is really building the trenches out.
I was just going to say, you can declare them a winner. You can declare them second place, third place. The obvious emphasis for Kirby Smart, for Trey Scott, for Coach Searles is to build up in the trenches. That's the way they've constructed these championship rosters, and that's exactly what they did in the month of June. He talked about some of the big official visits of the month of June, getting the number 1 linebacker in the country, Justin Williams, back on campus, another top 50 defensive lineman, Joseph Jonah Ajonye. Not only have they started to load up in the trenches, more good news might be coming in the front 7 in the near future as well.
Yeah, and just look at the size of these guys. Justin Green goes 6'4", 260. I mean, that's small compared to the rest of this group. Justin Thomas is 6'5", 325. Michael Uini, 6'7", 335. Nnamdi Agboko is 6'5", 355. That is some beef in the middle. And like you said, they're not done yet. You can really see Kirby putting an emphasis on the trenches. All right, let's move to the USC Trojans. They currently have the number 5 class overall, but they just came out of nowhere to jump into the top 5. 12 commitments this month. They only have 15 total. So basically, this entire class for USC was formed over the course of June. Let's take a look at who their top commitments were. Cornerback Marcellus Williams, wide receiver Ryan Pelham, quarterback Dakota Fields, interior offensive lineman Jason Zandamela, and tight end Walter Matthew. 4 of their top 5 commitments are all inside the top 100. USC went to work in June.
Yeah, I really love the DB class that Dante Williams and Lincoln Riley are really trying to put together. We could talk about USC's offensive skill players like Ryan Pelham all day and Walter Matthews, but we know that the obvious work for the Trojans has to be on the defensive side of the ball. Getting someone like Marcellus Williams and Dakota Fields on board in June is monumental. They also got Georgia committed Peyton Woodyard, the safety from California, on campus, and they are trending in a big way with Woodyard coming out of the summer. They got the number 1 running back in the country, Taylor Tatum, on campus at the beginning of the month, and they're in the mix heading into a July decision. They're going to work in a lot of key spots, offensive line, playmakers on offense, and playmakers in the secondary, and they're in a great spot heading into July now.
Give me a little bit more on the number 1 running back in America, Taylor Tatum. He's set to make his decision probably sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's a two-team race. He's been on official visits to USC and to Oklahoma. There's a strong case to be made about USC when you look at obviously Lincoln Riley's offense, the relationship he has with Kyle McDonald, and obviously what USC offers not only on football but NIL opportunities away from the field for Taylor Tatum. Of course, he's coming off Oklahoma's biggest recruiting weekend of the month. He's been a top priority for DeMarco Murray and the Oklahoma staff. Longview High School, Taylor Tatum's high school, has a long track record of sending kids to Norman and having a ton of success. With a decision 2 weeks away, it's a close two-team race, Oklahoma and USC. I like the Sooners, but this is closer than people realize.
Yeah, and USC just feels like they're just getting going on the recruiting trail. Let's go to the number 2 ranked team in the month of June. That's the Clemson Tigers. They landed 5 commitments in the month. They only have 15 total, so a third of their class was built this month. But boy, did they do it with some firepower. 5-star wide receiver Bryant Wesco, 5-star linebacker Sammy Brown, 4-star wide receiver TJ Moore, and 4-star cornerback Ricardo Jones, along with 4-star edge Darian Mayo. Some big wins on the recruiting trail, Sam.
Yeah, and the unique thing about Clemson recruiting, Josh, you know this, once you commit, you're usually locked in for the long haul, and getting someone like Sammy Brown and Bryant Wesco, 5 stars, beating out the Georgias and Oklahomas and LSUs of the world for these blue chippers was monumental for Dabo Swinney. We've been wondering where Clemson is in these blue chip recruitments. Well, here come the Tigers. And again, they had a really big June. They're in a great spot, of course, with 5-star plus safety KJ Bolden after this month, 5-star wide receiver Mike Matthews, also getting 5-star wide receiver Cam Coleman on campus a few times. They got a few on board, and they've, again, put themselves in a good position to capitalize moving forward.
Yeah, just when people were ready to kick dirt on Dabo's grave on the recruiting trail, just when people thought that they could count Clemson out as a power on the recruiting trail, boy, did they come back. And like you said, I was just impressed with some of those wins. Like Bryant Wesco was trending heavily toward Oklahoma for a period of time. Sammy Brown, a lot of people did not think that he was going to get out of the state of Georgia, especially when Dylan Raiola pulled that special workout at Jefferson High School where Sammy Brown attends. And it just seemed like all the momentum's there. They go out and they beat FSU for Ricardo Jones. They really got it done on the trail. Really impressed with the power of Clemson recruiting. They said, not so fast, my friend. We are still here. But the number 1 overall team in the month of June, without a doubt, has to be the Florida Gators. They landed 10 commitments in June. They went from 13 in one weekend. They went from 13 all the way to number 2. Now, they currently sit at number 3 overall, but still, nobody is hotter than the Florida Gators in the month of June. Look at these commitments. Linebacker Jamonta Waller, number 63 overall. Linebacker Aaron Childs. Tight end Amir Jackson. Defensive lineman Amaris Williams. Wide receiver Jeray Hawkins. They did what a lot of teams are set out to do. They got guys in on official visits. They brought in over 40 official visitors, and it paid off, though. You don't usually see this many commitments, especially on the weekend that the guys are visiting. They didn't even wait to get off campus and ask Hayes Fawcett for an edit. They just committed right there.
They didn't have enough time, Josh, but we talked about this we talk about this off air. Schools strategize differently, and for Billy Napier and the Gators, they wanted to get the wealth of talent on campus in June, and like you said, they didn't leave the swamp without commitments on hand, double digits, and we're talking about serious firepower on the defensive side of the ball. Jamonta Waller, that was a really tough recruitment. Penn State was in there, Ole Miss, Auburn, and Florida came out with a monster win for Waller. They're really dominating in different parts of not only the state of Florida, but into Mississippi. Aaron Childs from the DMV, Dre Hawkins, obviously from West Virginia, plays for IMG. And of course, again, we talk about the wealth of official visits. They've put themselves in more good positions with commitments coming later this summer. Guys like Fletcher Wasfall on the offensive line and Wardell Mack set to return to the swamp next month, a name that should be committing by the end of the summer.
And they're potentially in it for Colin Simmons. Let me tell you, DJ Lagway, the Gator coaching staff is not done on the recruiting trail. But seriously, DJ Lagway has been a major presence to this class. He's helped recruit. He was in Gainesville taking his official visit the weekend that everybody committed. So you got to give him a little bit of credit. And he's still out there after major flip targets. Sam, they got a shot to maybe flip the number 1 wide receiver in America, Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, Jeremiah Smith has continued to take official visits, explore his options before he, what we think he'll sign with Ohio State, but Florida on campus with DJ
Yeah.
Lagway. Then you look at DJ Lagway's own state. Dalen Evans, a longtime Texas A&M commitment, has been to the Swamp almost as much as he's been to College Station the last few months. Florida is very much in a flip situation with Dalen Evans, just as they are with Jeremiah Smith, going into the fall and the bulk of flip season.
Florida Gators are our #1 class. They won the month of June on the recruiting trail, but here comes July. And July has dozens of commitments already set. We'll probably see a full shakeup of these teams. But like I said, we're going to track this every month. It's been fun just following who wins the month. So I can't wait to see what July brings on the recruiting trail. Thanks for stopping by the Inside Scoop today, Sam.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button for me. And remember to check out all the videos on the On3 YouTube page.